Absolutely, man. I think you say it best. Let's waste no time because I definitely want to get into the end of this game, but I want to cover this news right out of the gate. So we all know, right, about the injuries yesterday, obviously, to Jordan Love and then, of course, Malik Willis. Let's start with the Jordan Love front and what we know there. Rob Demovsky tweeted out, of course, Matt LaFleur had a press conference earlier today. Packers coach Matt LaFleur said Jordan Love is still in the concussion protocol. That's a process that takes multiple days to get through. We all know that, right? LaFleur added, it sounded like he's doing better. He said he hadn't talked to Jordan yet, but according to the doctors, he's doing a lot better. So the good news there, Tim, there's no significant damage, another injury. We were a little concerned about the neck, some other things that might have been involved in that. You know, you never know. Could be a little bit of a chest injury when the defender lands on you like that too. Sounds like it was just a concussion. That's good news. However, you know how this concussion protocol goes, man. If he doesn't clear this thing by the end of the week, then guess what? You're on to your backup quarterback, and we'll talk about who that backup quarterback might be here in just a second. Any initial thoughts on the Jordan Love concussion protocol situation here, man?
It's going to take time, and that's all we can do is wait, right? I think this is Jordan's second or third that he's had as a pro. You know, concussions are serious, and that's why they take them seriously. So I think it's just time is going to tell. We're going to get a real good idea here as the week progresses going into, you know, next Saturday's game. So to me, it's a day-to-day thing. You know, whether he clears the protocol or not is still up in the air, you know, before Saturday's game. We don't know. But I think we'd have a better idea, you know, in the next maybe three to 4 days, get a little more clarity with how things are going with him. But it's tough, man. You just wish him the best. Hope he gets better soon.
Yeah, and typically it's kind of coming right down to the wire when it comes to concussion protocol for other players. Now, is the quarterback position a little bit different? I can't think of a time where a player was kept out multiple games because of concussion protocol that played the quarterback position, other than someone like Tua, who's had multiple concussions, right? So again, if you guys have information on that, let us know in the comments. Wes Hawkowitz tweeted out, LaFleur hasn't talked to Love today. We just talked about, sounds like he's doing better based on the conversation they had. And then, of course, we just kind of covered that a little bit there. He confirmed he was in protocol as well. So we got multiple people reporting that. Now, this is the part that's concerning to me, Tim. Let's say Jordan doesn't clear concussion protocol, right? Let's just say that doesn't happen. What happens next? Well, we got Malik Willis, arguably the best backup quarterback in the National Football League, right? Well, not so fast, my friends. Wes Hawkowitz tweeted out, LaFleur on how Malik Willis is doing coming out of the game. Quote, I'd say he's pretty sore. It's a legitimate deal that he's dealing with. He's another guy. We'll see where he's at as we progress. So Malik Willis landing on his throwing shoulder. Now, he did throw after that. He actually hit Jaden Reed across the middle on a nice little play. However, everyone's seen him on the sidelines trying to get that arm worked out. Tim, that arm, to me, it didn't look good. And I think that's played a little bit into how the plays were being called down the stretch there as well. Almost like they didn't just turn him loose at the end, right? So I'm a little bit concerned about that. And again, if this happens, if let's say Malik Willis doesn't practice all week and he's ruled out for this game, Jordan Love doesn't clear concussion protocol, I'm guessing it's Clayton Tune, or you go with one of your emergency quarterbacks that we'll talk about here in a second. Do you have any info that you know about when it comes to Malik Willis's shoulder, and how do you feel about that whole situation if Jordan isn't cleared and then Malik Willis can't go?
I mean, we didn't hear anything, you know, officially yet, so I guess we'll wait for the injury report to see what it's listed at, if we get any kind of, you know, deal on that. But did he separate the shoulder, right? Is there a strained muscle? Did he pull something? You know, deep tissue bruise kind of thing. Who knows? But you're right. It's going to affect the way he's playing. And if he doesn't go, I would assume that's what it is, right? We go to the practice squad and grab a kid who's never played a down of football in the NFL, right? And just see what the heck happens.
Yeah, he's got a stupid ass name too, Clayton.
Yeah, I know.
Man,
I know a guy like that.
I heard of a guy like it. I wouldn't trust him, let me tell you. Yeah, I seen that come across the wire, and I'll be honest with you, I'm like, okay, if Jordan is concussion protocol and he can't play this week, I feel pretty good about our chances still with Malik Willis. And then that drop with Malik, and again, it's the quote that worries me from LaFleur. I'd say he's pretty sore. It's a legitimate deal that he's dealing with. He's another guy. We'll see how it goes in the progress. So that stuff right there, that worries me a touch. Now, I think there's a more of a chance of Jordan playing next Saturday than not playing. Personally, I think he'll clear concussion protocol and he'll be back. I'm just simply saying if that doesn't happen, this is going to get really, really interesting on down the stretch. And I don't think people realize, Tim, myself included, just how close we were last night to kind of seeing what would that look like if we didn't have a quarterback on the roster, right? Like, in this situation that, Clayton Tune obviously wasn't active last night. So what happened if Malik Willis couldn't play in overtime there, right? Well, evidently this is the plan. Bill Huber tweeted out that Matt LaFleur said at the press conference, Josh Jacobs and Jaden Reed are the emergency quarterbacks. Now, a couple different things here. It kind of feels like that's why they held Josh Jacobs out there towards the end. We were concerned, oh no, the injury's even worse now, right? I know I was concerned with that. Yeah. But now that this is coming out, it's like, okay, maybe that was them just being extra cautious to make sure they had their emergency quarterback. Does that make sense? So I feel like that's probably more on that than Josh Jacobs was too hurt to play. And like Matt LaFleur did say in his presser, Tim, Manuel Wilson was running the ball really, really well, right? So there was like no reason to go back to Josh, who we could see all over the tape he wasn't 100%, and he's your emergency quarterback too. So any thoughts on that there? I mean, I thought that was interesting. Josh Jacobs and Jaden Reed. I thought it would be Savion, but Savion being a rookie probably doesn't have as good of a grab on the playbook as a Josh Jacobs or a Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed being our F for 2 years now, Tim, going on 3 years. This is the third year. Yeah. He's got to know everything that's going on in that offense. Obviously, choice routes attached to the F position and all that.
Yeah, and both of these guys can throw the ball, Josh and Jaden. But at the same sense, it's going to really affect your offense if we end up in that situation, right? How we're able to move the ball. But I kind of agree with you. I'm hoping Josh's knee is fine, and that him being held out was just in case we are in an emergency situation and we need him to go out there and be a quarterback. That's probably why he didn't get as many snaps towards the end of that game. And you're right, Emmanuel Wilson was running the ball really well. And it's crazy to say that it feels like our running back room has got more depth right now than a lot of our other position groups on this offense. So I'm just really hoping Jordan clears the protocol and this is a nothing burger and he's good to go on Saturday. Still holding out hope for that. Same thing with Malik. Hopefully the shoulder, it's not super, super serious and he's able to rehab and work through that and play a game at Lambeau Field against the Baltimore Ravens because we're going to need that win.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. Let's see here. Packer Doug says Josh Jacobs in the Wildcat. I heard it's first option. That would make a lot of sense, right? You may even like your chances of running a Wildcat offense with Josh Jacobs than you would, say, a Clayton Tune, who, obviously a practice squad caliber quarterback there, right? So that would make a lot of sense in my opinion. J Dome in the chat said, I'd sit Jacobs next week. Well, first of all, you may have to if he's not healthy, right? However, this is what we talked about. There's no reason to sit someone now. If you feel like they can make your team better no matter what percentage they're playing at, now's the time to play them. Guys, the back's against the wall now. This Bears game was the game you had an opportunity to sit people because it's like, okay, if you lose that game, it's not the end of your season. But if you go out there and you re-injure, you hurt these guys even worse that are going out there playing injured, and you don't give them that extra time to get ready for the Baltimore game. Now, all of a sudden, you end up losing that game to Chicago, and you're twice as banged up. I feel like you've got to play Jacobs next week if he can be effective. That's the big thing, right? How do you feel about that, Tim, in terms of Josh Jacobs next week? Would you just sit him outright, or do you think, no, if he can go, he needs to be out there?
Well, it depends, again, on the quarterback situation, but I would say if he's – first of all, you know how he is. He's going to want to play. You're going to have to physically remove him from the facility if you think he's not going to try and see the field. So I get the logic, though, both ways, right? You want to sit a guy right now. I mean, we have injuries left and right these past few weeks, and it's devastating to your football team. And Josh Jacobs, clearly one of the most valuable offensive weapons we have and a locker room leader, all of that. So you can err on the side of caution and sit him, but, we don't want to be in a situation where we drop a game to Baltimore or Minnesota to end our season. And, you end up saving Josh for, a playoff run that never happens for all we know. So I say if he's good to go, put him out there.
Yeah. All right. Oh, back shoulder throw to DK Metcalf. All right. So if you guys are watching this video back later, we'll cut that short right there. Again, we wanted to get y'all as much information as possible on the quarterback situation. Things are getting really, really interesting there. So if you're watching this video back, let us know in the comments, how do you feel about the quarterback situation? Is it something that do you roll on with Clayton Tune if both of those guys can't go, right? Or do you kind of have him as the backup quarterback and just run a wildcat offense? Is that the approach? We want to hear from you guys in the chat. Let us know what you think. Also, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and click the bell icon so you know whenever PTA does go live here on the channel.